Hey, hello. So today we are going to get in our 15 minutes of movement, doing some lower intensity work, kind of some volume, hitting our back and arms, keeping it light today. So it is a bit later today. It's after dinner, about 6:30. My husband's watching my baby. And yeah, I know I should be saying, yeah, you should just get up first thing, get your workout in. And that does work for some people. For me, a lot of times, if I put my workout first, I wind up procrastinating other things. So that is why I do what I do right now. Different season of life. There have been times I did work out first thing, but I usually find it's a good break for me. But if you struggle getting it in, if you can get it in first thing, that is a great way to knock it out if you're like, hey, this is a priority. So again, you don't have to work out first thing in the morning. You really don't. Getting it in wherever you can, that's what matters. So I'm going to start with some band pull aparts. I love these for rear delts and good like shoulder health. So if you notice like the rear delt, this muscle, it's pretty small. A lot of people kind of forget about it. We work our front medial delts, give us that rounded shoulder, but we really want to focus good shoulder health because that's going to help our pressing movements. And then also just that rear delt, just aesthetically, it will make things look good too. So I have a small band and I am just pulling it apart. We want some tension here. So you don't want to be like right here where it's all floppy, right? So get some tension here. This one, I probably need a new one soon. And I am just pulling and thinking about bringing my shoulder blades together in the back. Also, I'm thinking about space between my shoulders and ears. I'm not up right here, right? Keeping things down. So from the side, and I just like to warm up with these. I used to have a lot of shoulder and I think it was imbalances in my traps, rhomboids, and just shoulder rotator cuff. And when I really started focusing kind of more functional movements like this and kind of some prehab type work, it really helped. Also just muscle tension too. All right, so nice little warm up. We'll do one more set. You can also do some diagonally like this. Great way to just warm our shoulders up, warm our back up. Really any type of pressing movement, honestly, any upper body movements. I don't do this as much as I should, but I used to do these a lot before every upper body day, and it was a good thing. All right. And another thing you can do is like band or like shoulder dislocations. So if you have a PVC pipe, broomstick, you can do this. Great way to warm our shoulders up. And ideally, like the goal is to be able to have a more narrow grip. That's just a mobility thing. So, all right, feeling nice and warm. I'm gonna hit back and I'm just doing band work today. We're keeping it light. Yesterday I was feeling kind of under the weather and yeah, so we're just gonna keep it a bit lighter. All right, so, and I'm in my house shoes, my slippers. So I'm gonna kneel. I put a band up here high, anchored it, and I am like rotating a bit, getting some tension. So it's not slack here. There's already some tension, and now we're just pulling this down to hit our lat. We'll do 10. 4. Get a nice squeeze. I think that was 7, 8, 9. And notice I am bringing my hand is pronated. I don't know if My brain's not working, but basically pointed down, and I am rotating it, and we're hitting our biceps here too. Good, nice squeeze there. Then we'll hit the other side. So I'm on my other knee. Again, already tension here in the band. And we're squeezing that lat. So right under your armpit, that is our lat. Your lats are huge, actually. So they connect all the way down. A very large muscle group can help give you like that hourglass look, the wings. Probably scoot back a bit. Good. All right, one more. All right, now repeat other side. Went on a little walk earlier today before dinner. I probably average between 6,000 and 7,000 steps a day. I'm not a 10,000 person. It's probably something I could work on doing, but you don't have to hit 10,000 steps. There's no like hard, fast rule. If you struggle on being active, having some type of wearable is helpful to monitor that, right? It can give you some motivation. So if you have something like that, focus on increasing 1,000 a week. If your goal is like fat loss or just getting more movement in, or every 2 weeks you could increase. Otherwise, if you don't have a wearable like that, it's not necessary. People have lived long without having Oura rings and Apple watches. But really my tip for a lot of my clients is looking for opportunities to take a longer route. So if you're in the office, take a longer route to the bathroom, find breaks to walk during the day. I do this a lot. I did this a lot when I was on the phone with people. Like I would get up and pace them. I think it was more like an anxiety thing, but I would do that if I didn't need to like be looking at stuff on my computer. Taking a small 5-minute walk at lunch. And then I would always enjoy a 5-10 minute walk around 3 p.m., kind of when that slump hits, kind of to finish out the day, have a little snack, get some water, and go for a little walk around the parking lot or whatever. All right, one more. We're really focusing, squeezing. So I'm not just doing that, right? Bring it down, slowly let it. So we're working both eccentric and concentric movements here. That's one nice thing about the bands, if you do it properly, right? So I could just let this snap back. And that's one thing with like a dumbbell. If I'm doing rows, right? Again, like you can control the movement, but this gives a little more feedback. Okay. And the great thing with bands too, you can adjust them a lot to meet the resistance you need, and they're pretty cheap. I mean, it's probably like $90, maybe $100, like for a good, like these are X bands, and it gives you quite a range of options. And it's easy to travel with these, right? So I actually normally keep these in our room, like our family room. And while we watch TV, I may do some stuff. So really easy. And again, it's finding those opportunities. Yesterday, and I thought about filming it, but I was like, I'm in my pajamas. um, but we were watching something. I was doing some shoulder presses and just a couple things. It wasn't even long. It was like 5 minutes, but with some bands. All right. Now we'll hit some triceps. So like I said, so triceps, back of our arms, I don't do a lot of arm isolation work. I just don't, because I find with a lot of pressing and rowing movements, I hit it well. And also, I spent a lot of time doing that in my earlier years of lifting and stuff. So I already had some good muscle development. But like on a day where I want to take it easy, but I still want to get something in, arms can be great because they are smaller muscle groups. They're isolation movements. So it requires less effort and less recovery. So we're doing some push downs. So notice a couple issues I see with push downs is either people like not trying to think, like just standing up straight and like this, not getting a full extension. I like to hinge a little bit here and focus on that pull down. Another thing is this. So they're not bending their elbow. And this is kind of hitting our lats, which we'll actually do a little later. But we have our elbows. I think about pinning my elbows at my side and then pushing down. So I like these a lot with cables. This is definitely tough with, kind of got to adjust a little bit. With the bands. So we want full extension here, and we're really hitting this muscle. So it's not this. We have our elbows pinned here and just going straight down. All right. We don't need to come up here. It's not a bicep movement. This is where the tension will be. Another thing I was actually thinking about, if you're struggling on getting consistent in your workouts, and especially as you ease back in, which I'll be honest, after I did my reverse lunges the other day, my legs were pretty much like killed the next day. And when you're really sore, it can be you want to skip, right? You don't feel like working out. So having some options that are low intensity and just keeping that momentum going and the discipline and showing up, even if it's not a hard workout, if it's not intense, but doing something that builds momentum and helps build our habit and also breaks out of that all or nothing thinking, right? Where it's like, oh, if I can't work out 30 minutes, 45 minutes, if I can't lift heavy, if I can't, do a full workout, then I'm not going to go. And that is what stops people from getting the results they want. All right, let's hit this again. So doing this like a light arm workout, some bicep curls, whatever it is, just something that shows you, hey, I can still show up, right? I can do something. Full extension. 8. We had some mahi-mahi, asparagus, and I had a loaded baked potato for dinner. It was good. I did not have a good lunch. That was my fault, but I also was having a little nausea where it's just like nothing sounded good. So is what it is. All right, we'll do one more set, triceps. Let me get a little water. But I'm glad I'm doing this because it is good accountability for me. And that also is a testament to like community support and having some type of accountability to someone. And it has to be someone that like you don't want to disappoint, right? So a lot of times people may find their friend who wants to lose 15 pounds too or whatever, right? But they struggle with consistency too. So it's easy to like, oh, you don't feel like it? Okay, let's not go. So finding someone that's a little bit ahead of you at least is crucial in building that consistency and accountability. Full extension. All right, cool. We're gonna hit a little more lats, a little more back, and then a little bicep. All right. So we're gonna do like a face pull here. So this is more upper back, I should say. So this can be a little awkward, but basically, so I have it around, grabbing onto here, and I am pulling this towards my face. So like I'm kissing the band. And here, let me turn it this way so you can kind of see. And again, don't let that band snap back. The other day, I posted a picture of my back from a couple years ago, and I was like, man, I miss that. I miss back goals. Need to work my upper back. I've always admired like a muscular back. I remember when I first started working out, this woman who, yeah, very defined back. You could see like all the rhomboids, I mean, thickness to her back. And I was like, that is cool. I like that. She probably was on a little something too, but we live and we learn. So, I mean, she wasn't like bodybuilder, but I think she definitely was a competitor. It was in Florida, Clearwater area, and there was a good amount of that. But she probably like figure, if you're familiar with like the different classifications, which I actually did consider competing in several years ago. I started actually working with a coach, and that's also when my thyroid kind of blew up. And so we decided not to do that. And I realized, who am I doing this for? Is this just something to do? And I realized also fitness was actually becoming an idol for me, taking over a lot of my life mentally. And I just was like, no, I don't think that's the direction I should go. Nothing against. I still admire people and I enjoy watching that kind of stuff because it's incredible, right? But for me, I just knew it would not be the right thing, right? So, all right, so that's face pulls. We're gonna do 2 more rounds. And so I am just bringing it back. You wanna keep your elbows high, right? It can be, you don't wanna let them drop. I mean, ultimately, if you do, you're still working your back. It's kind of your back, your shoulders, they're like the ball and joint. So there's a lot of movement, and learning to work in all of those different angles is not a bad thing. But just in this particular way, we're hitting our rear delts a little bit more here. So I think sometimes people get almost too caught up in doing things exactly the right way. And part of it really is individual. Like, yes, there are, good form, things like that. But I think, science has actually shown people have been like, hey, maybe we actually should learn how to adapt and work in different plans. And like, even if your form maybe isn't perfect, right? if there's a little spinal flexion, like that's not always a bad thing. So part of it is just learning how things feel, tuning into your body, what muscles are being utilized, how all of that feels and works for you. It's kind of a giant experiment, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with one. I mean, you're not going to see results immediately. You do one set, you're not going to all of a sudden have muscles, right? You have to be willing to give it time and treat it like an experiment and see, how does my body respond to this exercise? How does it feel? What if I shift my weight a little bit? What if I lean back a little more? And that comes with time, right? All right, I'm really gonna focus on that contraction here. One thing I have started noticing for pregnancy wise is a little doming and coning in my belly. So that's from the separation, which isn't shocking since I've had a pregnancy before. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something to be conscious of. But this ab separation will happen to pretty much every woman. Our abs separate in order for our uterus and all of that to expand in a baby. But again, it's something just to keep in mind as you do movements, and focusing on breath control as well, because a lot of that comes down to pressure. All right, let's hit some biceps. Actually, we're going to do one last thing. We're going to hit lats a little bit more, do straight arm pull downs. I really like these on a cable machine. They're one of my favorite lat movements. I used to do these with my brothers. I think he was the one that introduced me to them, like when I was new. So hinge, all right. And here, so unlike the tricep where we're pushing down with our elbow, we actually do want a straight arm here because we're hitting our lat. So this is the muscle we're focusing. So we'll see how this goes with the band. All right, step back a bit more. Let me get a little more lax here. Good. All right. Yeah, that felt pretty good. Pretty good. Again, with bands, you have to play with it a little bit. 2 more sets. We'll do biceps, and we'll be done. And this is, 23 minutes. This is a bit longer. I've talked a lot this time, too. Okay. You know what? No, all right, we'll just do this. More. All right, I'm actually going to call it there. Do biceps, and we'll call it a day. All right, biceps. Again, I never do biceps. I actually hate training biceps. Weird. Okay. Do 3 sets of 15. Bring it up all the way. and 15. Good. All right. More times. We're going to keep it quick. You'll notice I haven't done tons and tons of rest on this because it's lighter. It's more like pump work, kind of. So I'm not like, yeah, I need, a good minute rest or anything. And then it is time to get my son ready for bed because he only napped for 10 minutes today. He has not been wanting to nap. I don't know. He had his molars, 2 molars popped through yesterday. So, I don't know. It's always different. You feel like you got a groove for a week, and then they change it up. As far as like my kind of morning routine, I don't have much of one right now, to be honest. I generally get up when he does right now. Before pregnancy, we had a groove, and I was getting up at about 5 to get like work done and stuff. But with being pregnant, we're just getting the sleep we can, and that's okay. And that's also part of why, hey, I'm working out later. Okay. All right. Well, as always, thank you for being here. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below if there's like a type of workout you would like to see or any questions that you have, and I'll make sure to get back to it.